Welcome back, friends. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher, and I'm excited to continue to learn and grow with you today. Let's see what we need to get ready to learn. Today, you'll need the little yellow leaf, handout 13A, which is the informative writing checklist, assessment 13, your focusing question task 2, your journal, and your pencil. Please pause to gather what you need and just hit the play button when you're ready to continue. Today, we're going to take some time to reflect, which means to look back on how much you've grown, how much you now know, and also what you can do now. In addition to reflecting, we're also going to set a goal. Today, we're going to set a goal as a writer. What can you do to make your writing even stronger? The author used words and illustrations to share a central message with us about change. How did this text build your knowledge of change? Let's do some thinking about what you now know and what you can do. You're able to think about these two things and also to collect your thoughts in your journal. You can use the T-chart that we developed before when we read How Do You Know It's Fall? Or if your chart is all filled up, you can create a new chart in your journal. My chart was just getting started, so I'm going to continue to add to my chart here. I'm going to start in the left-hand column with what I know. And I'm going to think about what do I know now after reading the little yellow leaf? And specifically, what do I now know about change? Little scarlet leaf made little yellow leaf feel a little bit braver to stop clinging to that branch and to let go and to soar. That makes me think that friends make change easier. Scarlet leaf helped little yellow leaf make a change just by being a friend. Now I can also think about what I can do now after reading and thinking and practicing, specifically with story stones and thinking about the story elements as I read the little yellow leaf. Because I thought about the story elements and practiced with the story elements and the story stones, I can now locate the problem in the story. Locate means to find. So this means I can now find the problem in the story. This is a skill that I can do now. So now it's your turn to keep going. Pause here to find your T-chart in your journal that you'd like to continue on, or pause here to create a new T-chart in your journal. On the left side, you'll title it What I Know, and on the right side, you'll write What I Can Do. Pause here to create your chart, and then just hit play when you're ready to continue. Writers always review their writing to make sure that it's clear. The informative writing checklist can help you review your writing so you can make it even stronger. Let's take a quick peek at the informative writing checklist just to see how it's set up to support you as a writer. You probably noticed that there are 3 columns. The first column on the left is very wide because it holds a lot of information. The second column as you move to the right is titled Self. This is the column that you'll be using when you are reviewing your own writing. The last column all the way to the right is for your classroom teacher. Let's practice with the checklist together before you try one on your own. We're going to narrow down the focus on our checklist to focus on what we've been practicing. We've been practicing with topic statement, gathering 3 pieces of evidence and including them in our writing, and also using sequencing or linking words to connect our evidence together. I'll pretend that I'm a student, so I'll be filling out the informational writing checklist the same way that you would. I'll be using the column in the middle that's titled Self. The first thing that I'll check the paragraph for is the topic statement. The checklist says that I should introduce the topic with a topic statement. I'd like you to pause here to read over my paragraph to make sure that I have a topic statement that introduces my paragraph. So pause here for as long as you need to, and then hit play when you're ready to continue. My paragraph does have a topic statement, and I underline that topic statement in green to remind me that the evidence is combined to make the topic statement. This topic statement tells the readers right away what this paragraph will be about. Since I do have a topic statement that introduces the topic for the paragraph, I went back to my informative writing checklist and I put a plus sign. The plus sign shows that this is something that I included in my informational paragraph. Now I'm moving on to the next line in my checklist. I need to make sure that I have at least 3 sentences with evidence. So I need your help. I'd like you to pause here to read over my paragraph and make sure I have 3 sentences with evidence. Once you have a chance to read and maybe even reread the paragraph to make sure I have enough evidence, just hit continue. There are 3 pieces of evidence in this paragraph, and that evidence supports the topic. Since I did include 3 sentences with evidence, I went back to the self column and I added a plus sign next to that item in the checklist. The next and the last thing I need to check for on my checklist today is that I use sequencing words, first, then, and finally, in the correct order in this informational paragraph. So pause here to read over my paragraph and to check for those sequencing words. And just hit play when you're ready to continue. I did use the sequencing words first, then, and finally, and I did put them in the correct order in the paragraph. Thanks for your help. Since I did include the sequencing words and I used them in the correct order, I put a plus sign right next to that item in the checklist, and I made sure to put it in the self column. Since you're such a good observer, you probably noticed that we reread the paragraph each time there was a new item on the checklist. You probably also observed that it was much easier to use the checklist in a very thoughtful way if I only focused on one item at a time. I think you're ready now. Now it's your turn. You'll be using the informative writing checklist to review your own piece of informational writing. What I'd like you to do right now is to complete the checklist. And then if you find an area where you put a triangle because you did not see that in your paragraph yet, you can take time to revise your paragraph or to add something to your paragraph to make it even stronger. And then we're going to come back together to work on a writing goal. I'm going to go off to the side so you can pause to work. This might be a long, extended pause because you'll be completing your checklist and you'll also be revising your paragraph. So take as much time as you need and just hit play when you're ready to continue. When I wrote my paragraph for the very first time, I did not include the word finally when I shared my last piece of evidence. And when I reviewed my paragraph and I saw the checklist reminded me that I needed to include that word. So I decided that I would work on that as a writer, and that became my goal. My goal is I will use the word finally when I'm sharing my last piece of evidence. Now it's your turn to write a goal for yourself. Take a look at your checklist and look at where you have triangles. Think about which area would you like to work on next? Which area, if you work on it, will help to make your writing stronger? If you'd like to, discuss this with your learning partner, or you can also touch base with your classroom teacher. Pause here, and it might be for a while, to think about and to write your goal. And just hit play when you're ready to wrap up our video lesson. All writers have the power to make their writing stronger, especially when we use helpful tools like checklists. I will see you real soon, powerful writers.